Good evening and welcome to Disney Mom Podcast. We are going to have a very short episode today as it is 9/11, and I just want to focus on 9/11 and remembering those that we lost, those that gave their lives to protect us after 9/11, and it is a day of remembrance for me personally, so I do want to also respect that for you guys as well. We will be having an episode next week about Oogie Boogie and Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party that will be longer and more like our regular podcast. So on 9/11, when the towers were struck, Disneyland had not opened yet in California. So they never opened that day. So now at Disney World, guests are already in the park when the towers were struck. And by the time that it was reported as a terror attack, Disney decided to close the parks for the first time in 28 years. The last time Disney World ever closed down was when John F. Kennedy was assassinated. So this was a big call on Disney executives. They actually announced the closing of the park before the aviation department closed off air travel and grounded air travel, I should say. Cast members were informed that Disney needed to clear the parks when there was an emergency declared. Detailed procedures were in place to evacuate the parks. Cast members were instructed to form a human walls, linking hands and systematically sweeping and emptying the parks filled with guests. Most guests were not informed of the reason for the evacuation. So if you've been to one of the Halloween parties or any of the other parties at Magic Kingdom, I have seen where the cast members have held hands and emptied out certain areas of the park. So that probably stemmed from this. Reflecting on the evacuation, a Frontierland cast member named Michael shared his experience. We were told not to reveal what had happened unless guests ask us. I remember one guest asking me, and I explained. They stood there with a blank face, temporarily stunned. On September 12, 2001, the parks reopened, but the world and Disney World had changed forever. Overnight, makeshift bag screening tables were set up outside each theme park. This also was the case for SeaWorld and Universal. Those initial days of screenings were much longer, slower, and more thorough than when guests entered today. Many people were asked to remove batteries from electronics to verify they were what they appeared to be. These early checks were supervised by the Orange County Sheriff's Department, who also appeared in uniform outside and inside the parks. That was but unheard of just days before. Disney and Florida theme parks had also adapted to the very real possibility of being potential terror targets. This was something that was reinforced from the Pulse nightclub shooting. I have a friend that works security at Disney, and they used to work at Disney Springs, and they told me how the Pulse nightclub shooter's first target was actually Disney Springs. So the security is definitely doing its job protecting us at Disney World, Disney Springs, and all the Disney parks. It definitely had to be scary to be at Disney World and being told that you had to leave without knowing why. I am thankful that Disney implemented ways to keep us safe right away. After 9/11, they did not wait to implement security, and they made sure that everybody is still safe at the parks. I feel safe going to Disney parks and Disney World and Disney Cruise Line with my children because I know they have such a good security team. And so for that, I am thankful. I said I would keep it short today, and so I just want to say I hope everyone has a good night with their families, and we will be back next week with tips and tricks for Oogie Boogie and Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party.